Let's turn our attention to the ACC here because Miami just absolutely grabbed Notre Dame by the lapels and threw him down and then just beat him up. How good is Miami? Did we just see how good Miami could possibly be in your mind, Bruce?
You know, that was the best performance by far they've had all year. Because, yeah, they're undefeated. A little bit like Wisconsin until last weekend, where they hadn't really been tested. They played FSU, who's a shell of itself without their starting quarterback, and they're falling apart.
And they needed a last-second win to pull that one off.
Right. They played a awful North Carolina team a couple of weeks ago. North Carolina's like 1-8. They barely beat North Carolina. But last week, Virginia Tech came in there, and they stomped them pretty good. And then this weekend, I think what they had was Miami has some really good athletes on defense. By the way, our old colleague from our ESPN days, Manny Diaz, I don't know if you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Manny is Miami's defensive coordinator. He's done a terrific job there. I mean, they are really aggressive. They're really good up front. They're really athletic. I think the defense is probably 2 steps ahead of where Miami's offense needs to be. Miami's has some skill talent, but it just doesn't have the same depth. But this whole, the turnover chain has gotten a lot of attention. But what you have is a team that is playing with such a chip on its shoulder. And I think a lot of people said, hey, Notre Dame's going to come in there and they're going to steamroll you because you're just not tough enough. And that was a challenge that the whole community there basically seemed like they took upon. And they, one of the Notre Dame coaches kind of called out the program. It got back in, right before the game. Miami responded. I don't know if they are. I think they're probably a year away from being a legit national title contender, but they may be on track the way they're playing. Their offense has been a pleasant surprise, and their defense is pretty nasty.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.